Africa cannot continue to underutilize 50% of its human resources. We cannot afford to continue underutilizing 50% of what we have. Look at China, look at India, look at the other BRICS. What BRICS? What do they have? Huge populations. Their economic growth is driven by their population, which tells us your population is their biggest resource. We all know, okay, we should all know that gender is not just about women. And there are feminine qualities and traits that all sorts of people have, including men, right? And if there's anything Condoleezza Rice taught us, is that not all women are feminine. Certainly in their policy thinking. That one there. What are these feminine traits? What are feminine traits that women in general tend to bring to the workplace? One, lots more communication. Two, lots more collaboration. The nature of globalization means much more collaborative workspaces. Gains for women are actually gains for all of us. And this is particularly true for young men. And this is where I want to talk about gender, not just women. The things that the women's movement asks for are things that benefit not just women, but men as well. And the people who should most care about it are young men. Why? What are some of the things that the women's movement is asking for? Work-life balance. Sheryl Sandberg, lean in. That conversation about how to work and raise a family at the same time is a conversation that's relevant for women, but men as well, and young men. And so to the young men in the room, this is assuming a hetero-normative, whatever. So bracket the heteronormativity of what I'm saying. Young men in the room, you will end up starting families. With who? With other young men and these young women. Guess what? They will want careers. Guess what? They will expect you to take care of children. Because you will need to do this together. Listen, I'm here. I'm traveling for the next 2 weeks. I've got a 4-year-old son at home. Who is he with? His father, with my husband. There are expectations as a career woman that I place on my marriage. As a young career woman, that calls for my husband to work with me differently from the way his father worked with his mother, who was a stay-at-home mom, right? I am asking different things. For the young men, you will need a job that will recognize your own need for work-life balance, because you will not be able to work like your father did 24 hours a day to go up the ranks. Are you with me? You as a young man is going to need to work in a company that will recognize that you need to stay home for 2 weeks to take care of your child because your wife is traveling for work. The things that the women's movement is asking for in terms of transforming workplaces will benefit not just men, not just women, but men as well. That it very well may be that what we need to do as young people is take off the armor that, yes, worked well for our parents, but will weigh us down as we move forward. And this is a controversial thing to say. It's easy to just say the words, but if you think about the implications of that, you should be feeling scared. If you think about the implications of what I'm saying, you should feel scared. my sling, and a soft pebble. What things, what traditions, what cultural expectations do we need to respectfully leave with our parents? What battles are not ours, and what tools are not ours? That's one question. And the second question is, what tools are ours?
Yeah.
Because there's not. David did not walk into that battle unarmed, but he did travel light. What tools are ours? And this is where I think a lot about technology. And in thinking about South Africa and thinking about the future of this country and the future of this continent and the leadership role that South Africa plays on the continent, because make no mistake, South Africa does play a leadership role on the continent as the largest economy, the fastest growing. The BRICS have been amended to add the S to the end. We're all watching. The rest of the continent is watching what South Africa does. Our parents fought for independence. Our parents fought for the end of apartheid. That generation had the tools, developed the armor that they needed for those battles. Just because apartheid is legally over does not mean Goliath has been vanquished. And I think that the challenge that our generation faces is to take the work that's already been done by our parents and complete that work. Just because apartheid is over does not mean that this is an equal society. Just because apartheid is legally over does not mean that the access and equality that our parents fought for has been achieved and attained. And in fact, the racial dynamics of apartheid were easier to fight than the battles that lie ahead. It's deep. The race thing was almost easier to fight because you could see it. You could see it. The battles ahead, you can't see with the naked eye.
Sure.
But they are much harder. They're going to be much harder to fight. And the decisions that South Africa makes at this point, the decisions that your generation, our generation, makes, will set the path for the country and for the continent for generations to come.